going. Andrea's coming to us from Maryland. We got some California. We got the country covered today, man. I love it.
Good to see everybody.
I know, glad you're here. All right. Happy Monday. And it's actually a holiday today, Indigenous Day. So thank you for coming in on, I don't know if you guys have a day off. I don't think we have a day off until like November. So Thanksgiving.
Local bank was closed. I'm like, really? What?
I know. Our mail didn't get delivered. Like,
what?
Okay, whatever.
Right.
But that's okay. Everybody deserves a day off just because we don't take them. We're too busy reading books and recommending great books, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Exactly.
And Andrea, I know I'm late to the game, and I'll talk about it after my book club because they'll get mad at me if I talk about it before. But I know I'm late to Shuggie Bain, but I just read it for my book club. It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. So but I'll highlight it here in a couple weeks after my book club event. So
he's got a new one coming out.
What's that?
He has a new one coming out too.
Oh, I have to get my hands on that one. All right. It's going to go Steve, Gabe, Tom, Andrea. So Steve, start us off.
All right. I'm going to start us off. I don't know. Can this be seen? It's Macarthur Park.
Yep.
By Judith Freeman. Judith Freeman's written other novels and also memoirs. So she's a great writer. And this new book is a woman's friendship book. And these two gals, they meet when they're, I think, in high school in Utah. And one is very proper. She's Mormon family, does everything her parents tell her. They're kind of middle class. And then the other girl is from a really wealthy family. She lives in the part of the town with all the nice houses. And she's kind of wild and does her own thing. And after they graduate, the good girl, she stays in Utah. The bad girl or whatever, she goes off and she becomes this really radical performance artist doing all sorts of things that stir things up, and feminist things and other things that really get people either shocked or thinking or whatever. But she's famous, for that. And she goes out and she's living in Los Angeles. So the other girls married for, I think, like 15 years or so. They don't have children. Her husband leaves her just suddenly to go off with another woman. And she decides to drive to LA, and she stays with this friend who she hasn't seen in a long time. And their friendship sort of gets revived. And the artist is living with this composer who's kind of this really offbeat guy. Anyway, our good girl from Utah ends up with the composer, and they end up living in Macarthur Park. And the good girl, she becomes a writer, and she's becomes well known at it. And then things, it's like another 10, 15 years go by, maybe more, and the other woman comes back into her life. And they do this road trip together to Utah, to their hometown. I won't tell you why they're doing the road trip. Anyway, it's really well written. It may not get a lot of publicity and stuff, but it's a really solid novel. Like I said, really great women's friendship novel. And it goes on sale next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow.
So is it a little Thelma and Louise-ish?
No. It isn't.
I kind of had this vision of like a Brad Pitt coming into the road trip. And
there's no, you can imagine the Brad Pitt part. You can add that yourself.
Okay.
The beauty of a book.
Yes.
Exactly. It's
Sorry,
like, oh. All right, sounds good. Okay, Gabe, what do you got for us? Oh,
Jules,
wait,
you can write.
I didn't let you share the screen. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What is this? Like 89,000?
I think 80 million. There we go.
You could be the first fan fiction writer of Judith Freeman stories.
Right?
So I'm going to talk to you all about a book that I've been waiting to talk about for a long time. And that is Small Pleasures by Claire Chambers.
Ooh.
And I don't know if Claire Chambers will ring a bell with anybody. It's been a while, but 10, a dozen years, maybe more, since she's written a novel. But this is in the best tradition of, it's a book that I think I'll start with the plot outline and things will come to me. Plot outline is we have Jean Sweeney. It's the late 50s. Jean Sweeney is a feature writer at a local paper in Southeast London somewhere, back when there were newspapers. And she's living this really boring, dreary life that is slowly killing her, suffocating her, taking care of her widowed mother. And there's like, this is her life. There doesn't seem to be any escape to that life. And she is saved by a letter that comes from a young woman in a small town, Gretchen Tidbury, who has just had a daughter and claims that the daughter was born of an immaculate conception. So, of course, Jean's got to really, I gotta see what's going on. Obviously, there's something going on here, some kind of psycho trip, whatever's going on. So she goes on location to cover the story and gets really tied up in the life of Gretchen and her husband, who's a really thoughtful, soft-spoken man, and perhaps a little too involved. So there are some circumstances that arise that propel the narrative forward as people meet and fall in love and things happen, and I'm not giving too much away, and so Claire sort of finds this opportunity and this moment in time that she could like sneak into this wormhole and actually have a happy life and escape the world that she's been. It's really a lovely novel. It was longlisted for the Women's Prize, which is the old Orange Prize. And if you check out the list of the winners and people who've been nominated for that prize, it's a really list of really nice authors. I think it's in the tradition of a Tessa Hadley, who I just absolutely love, and I'll be talking about Tessa not till the summer. You're gonna have to wait. When we do our annual preview in January, February, I'll bring that up. But it reminded me a lot of, I think, the Alice Munro, Tessa Hadley audience will come to this. The Ishiguro audience will come to this. She's a really fine writer. Obviously, the Women's Prize nom indicates that. She's been garnering amazing reviews. The Telegraph, Sunday Times Ireland, all these people, the best book of the year across the UK. We've got great quotes from both sides of the pond. And I think it is a really thoughtful, thought-provoking book that's going to be great for book clubs. But, it's a great book. You're going to want to come home every night and get into this book until you're done with it. And it's just a real delight and a real treat to read. So I really highly recommend Claire Chambers' latest. It's a really wonderful novel.
Great cover.
Cool
Great
package.
cover. Great cover. It reminds me a little bit and it's a Tin House. She's a Tin House author, Claire Fuller. I haven't read this, but the description and the way that you're describing how she tells the story reminds me of how Claire Fuller writes a story too. So I know we've talked about Claire Fuller. She wrote Unsettled Ground and Bitter Orange and Swimming Lessons, some of those books. Anyways, this one sounds good.
No, it's good literary fiction.
Yeah.
And I think that straddles a commercial as well. There's a lot, there's a little mystery embedded that, you also need to resolve as well, that keeps the pace going. But there's a lot that keeps you turning the pages, and really great writing.
Cool. All right. Okay, Tom, what do you got for us?
Well, I have what I would call it's a quiet publication of a very big book. That's John le Carre's final novel, Silverview, which is on sale tomorrow. And we've kept it almost embargo. The reviews are starting to run, so reviewers had it, but we haven't had any early copies. so it's going to get out into the world, and then I just think of it as a gift from Le Carre and his family to his 60 years of readers. And the reviews already, like the New York Times review that'll run on Sunday, is a rave. And he really had been experiencing a renaissance in the last 10 years, unexpected. So there was A Delicate Truth about 8 years ago. And then just a couple of years ago, Agent Running in the Field, and getting some of the best reviews of his career. And we talked about him when he died last year on Tea Time, but really one of the most, if you haven't read Le Carre, there's so much to dig into, but he's one of the best writers, not only of spy fiction, but of just fiction, period. One of the fun things about this book is that it features a man who's he's gotten away from London, retired to a seaside town to open a bookstore. So the main character is one of the main characters is a bookseller. And he's turning his attention to mortality, of course, but also people looking back on their lives. And one of the things that preoccupied Le Carre, I think, through most of his career is what difference are these spies making? Did they end up making a difference in the world, from the Cold War to the present? It seems like it's all in here. So if you've loved Le Carre through the years, you'll definitely want, it's short too. It's just over 200 pages. And it was the last book that he finished himself. I think there's going to be more material coming of things that he wrote, but he wrote this in between the last two books. And then he also published a memoir, The Pigeon Tunnel, and got kind of distracted publishing that. And this was going to be next anyway, if he hadn't passed away. So it's really a lovely thing. So it'll be a great gift book this fall, Le Carre's Silverview.
And I think, was it 60 Minutes or CBS Sunday Morning? Who did the
60 Minutes?
60 Minutes. And if anybody hasn't seen that, go YouTube it, Google it. It was fantastic. It was so great.
Yeah. Totally right. It was so vivid. I remember it so well, the entire piece, especially the house and the setting and
that property he lives on.
That property he lived on was amazing. Yeah, and just his whole demeanor. I mean, what a gentleman scholar. I mean, he was just was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Andrea, what do you got for us?
Okay, thanks a lot. Good to see everybody.
Glad you're with us.
Thank you. I want to talk about, can you see this?
Not really.
I've got a different setup today, so I can't tell where you can see me from. Is that?
No.
Not a reflection.
It's not a reflection going
The
on.
Pessimist.
I think we said.
Okay, I'm just gonna dispense with the covers today. If the lighting is weird, and I apologize for that. But I want to talk about The Pessimists by Bethany Ball. And this is from Grove Press. It comes out tomorrow. It's $27 hardcover. And this is a biting and darkly funny novel that follows a set of well-to-do Connecticut suburbanites whose cozy, seemingly perfect little worlds begun to unravel amid some shocking turns of events and the revelations of some dark, dark secrets. And it's I can't see how this is not going to be optioned and put on the screen someday. It's set in an upper middle class New England community, and it revolves around three couples. They're all socially striving, and all of their children attend the same school or want to attend that school. And so they have interlinking lives. They move in and out of each other's social circles, and they're basically just it's just great dark comedy, and examining the lives and morals of folks that are fully steeped in white privilege in New England. And it's getting some amazing early reviews here out of the gate. And I think it's it's simmering on all cylinders for sure. I could read you some quotes, but I don't want to bore you today. Let's move on. We have 4 reps today. I don't want to bore you, but this is one to check out. There's a stack in the store, and that's The Pessimists by Bethany Ball, and that's from Grove Press.
I love the title because it's like, especially since it's about white privilege, it's like The Pessimists.
Yeah. I mean, if you like, Jeffrey Eugenides or, John Cheever, like it like kind of covers that whole scope.
Yeah.
And
I love Grove. I mean, they pick some really like needle there. They've got their eye on some really interesting things. So
yeah. So and she's somebody that they are developing into a house author. They believe in her. So this is, the second of 3 books, I think, that they've signed her up for. So
love it. All right. Okay, Steve, what do you got next for us?
Next, I have a book that comes out tomorrow.
I've been seeing a lot about this one.
Yeah, it's called The Survivors. It's by Alex Schulman. He's a Swedish writer. It's already been an international bestseller. But he's new to American audiences, and sometimes those international bestsellers don't translate. I mean, translate to sales. It is translate from the Swedish. I want to make that clear.
We don't have to like get our Danish dictionary out.
This is psychological suspense, kind of in the vein of I think of early Ian McEwan, like Enduring Love and Saturday, that were kind of family oriented events happen, and the suspense just builds and builds and builds. And that's what happens with this. And it takes place at a summer house in Sweden. It's kind of in a very remote area. But it could just as well be Maine or Michigan. It's like that. And there's beautiful trees, and there are the cabins, and it's a beautiful lake. So, and the story is told in a very unusual way. We know that some major thing happened, but we don't know what it is. Some event happened. So this family, there's three sons, the mother and the father, and in one thread, you're in the present, and you're working your way backwards through a 24-hour period in which the 3 brothers, who barely speak to each other anymore, are forced by their mother's dying wish to return to this really actually kind of spooky summer house. And then the other way, it's going from the beginning, from when they were kids. And it's all building to this big reveal about an event that happened that just shattered everybody's lives. And it's a really shocking or surprising reveal that happens. So if you like Ian McEwan and psychological suspense and that kind of novel, this one's for you. The Survivors by Alex Schulman.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. I've been seeing lots of good reviews, like just on the stuff that I follow. Lots of people are talking about it.
Good.
So, yeah. All right, Gabe, what do you got?
Coming back around.
Coming back around.
My second book, here's something you'll really like. I debated talking about this book, but I think it deserves a shout out, a holler.
Mm-hmm.
Tales from the Cafe. I mean, it is the second book from Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and it is a small formatted 1999. What a great price novel. Before the Coffee Gets Cold was the first. I can't believe I didn't pop a picture Before the Coffee Gets Cold here.
I loved that book. That was a really good book.
It was one of those books that it was, you are dealing with all these very skeptical people in New York who've worked publishing a long time. And it was one of those books where it's a feel-good book, and not really something you think it's up my alley, a lot of us, but male readers, female readers, young readers, older readers. It really runs the gamut age and generations and genders. It's really a fun book. And here's more of the same. We've got another 4 visitors to the cafe and back to the magic. And I think it'll be highly anticipated. It goes on sale tomorrow along with Small Pleasures. Goes on sale tomorrow. And, it's been an amazing seller. It's the first book, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, is a book that I'm still getting reorders up for the hardback. It was one of those books that had a really, really long life. And my little stores sold, a lot of copies. I mean, not just stores that can sell 5 or 6 hardbacks sometimes. We're selling like 32s and 27s and 47s and stuff. So it's one of those books that just got under people's skins. The price is right. Great gift, great stocking stuffer. Nice to give both of them. Both of them will make a nice stocking stuffer.
Yeah. No, I haven't had a chance to read this one yet, but the first one was just like you said, it was so well done, and yeah, really lots to think about. It had it all. It was a really good,
fantastic,
good, quiet little book, but it was really good. All right, Tom, next on yours.
My next book is the Korean Vegan Cookbook. This is getting a tremendous amount of buzz because she has almost 3 million followers on TikTok.
Wow.
An incredible number of followers. And she's a fascinating woman. She started that started the Korean Vegan name and blog, started as a blog, then it went to Instagram, and then finally TikTok, where it exploded. But it was sort of a hobby. She was a lawyer by day and a TikTok social media person by night, cooking, the videos are of her cooking her recipes. Until when now just in the last few months, she has become a full-time Korean vegan, like the brand. She's no longer a lawyer. But this is what sets these videos apart. They're not just about the cooking and the recipe and all that's there, but it's the storytelling. She's giving us stories of her family, her growing up, identity, social justice plays a role, trauma. All of that is in the stories she tells, which is in the food that she's making. So I love that she's making this connection between storytelling and cooking, which is very clear in the videos. And it's also, something I'm not on TikTok, no surprise, but there's something very democratic about TikTok. Like, it just comes up from the grassroots. Publishers can't just start doing TikToks and have them take off. It all happens
very organically.
Yeah. And so I love her story. Her story is so great that she just started doing these videos, didn't know what she was doing at first. They're the dogs.
That's okay.
But then it became this phenomenon, and publishers are still doing books by famous chefs. We still do those kind of books, but there's a lot of these TikTok or social media driven chefs. She did the photographs herself. I mean, so it's really beautiful, almost like handmade in a way. And the story, it's filled with the recipes, but also the stories, the essays. So I could see her she's a writer as well. She's going to be doing books about herself, food, other things, I'm sure. And this is one also to buy. If you're at all interested, you start hearing about it, buy it now, because I can't imagine we will be having this in stock closer and closer we get to Christmas.
I don't see a reprint coming of that one. I do not see a reprint of that one coming.
I don't either. No, and she's doing a couple of in-person events in LA that sold out immediately. So there's something happening here with this woman. So you've heard about it here first, the Korean Vegan.
I love it.
So beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful
It's
thing. And
gorgeous,
speaking of TikTok, because we've at the store, it's like, because we can tell when something jumps on TikTok, we see the sales come through.
Right.
But so everybody's like, oh, we should get on TikTok. It's like, no. We don't need to be on TikTok. We just need to be the receiving end of everybody that's doing TikTok and wants the books that they're talking about.
Right. And
Because-
publishers, I feel like, are the same way. We
Yeah.
don't always see them coming either. And then we run out of stock on something and have to reprint because of the
Right.
book talk.
But it definitely is a thing. I mean, it's resurrected a couple of backlist titles for us in a huge way.
Silent
No,
Achilles.
for sure.
So
People are ordering
exactly.
Silent
yeah.
Achilles in 10,
Cersei,
20. Yeah.
yep, exactly. That was one of
Otessa
and
Moshfegh's My Year of Rest and Relaxation.
and the
Another one.
Song of Achilles or the Cersei or whatever was, somebody was like, all the TikTok was a girl giving a review of it crying.
Books that made her cry. Books that made her cry. Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like everybody's like, I want that book. It's like, who knew? Anyways, all right.
Yeah.
Andrea, on to you.
All right, I'm trying. I'm going to try this again, but I just don't know what's going on with this light.
Yeah, it's just gonna weird
That's a little
angle.
better. Net
Net,
pause.
a little bit better. Yeah, net positive.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
But you know, you got to do what you got to do when you're out on the road. So Net Positive is from Harvard Business Review Press, and it's co-written by Paul Pullman and Andrew Winston, and that was out last week, so it's hot off the presses. And Paul Pullman is the former CEO of Unilever, which has basically the highest ratings in terms of sustainability of a company, like a big company. And Andrew Winston is a sustainable business guru. So they've teamed up to basically write about how capitalism is not necessarily inconsistent with basically putting people on the planet first. Now, some people may not agree with that. They may think that that is BS and a spin, but these guys really, you know, are super positive about this and really think that big companies and small are able to change their business models to really not just think about profit, but think about the people that work for them, their customers, and also the planet. On October 8th, Pullman was featured on CNBC's Closing Bell, had an interview in the New York Times late last week as well. He's been interviewed for on CNN International, the Financial Times, The Economist also reviewed this book. So getting a lot of great attention and also just off of the book page, which is nice. So we think that this book has a real shot of selling well to those interested in business, sustainability, and how to course correct if you're a grubby capitalist and would like to change that. So this book is Net Positive, How Courageous Companies Thrive by Giving More Than They Take. Hardcover at $30 from our friends at Harvard Business Review Press. They definitely know how to publish into that category. That is their category. And I mean, you know, let's see. Sir Richard Branson said, a wonderful rallying call to business leaders all over the world to step up to the greatest opportunity and responsibility of our time. Al Gore, former vice president, says a compelling and inspiring case that business can and should boost their bottom lines by contributing to their communities and protecting the environment. So there you go.
I love it.
Net
Damn.
positive.
Damn grubby capitalists. I love it. Was it Net Positive? That's the name of it?
Net Positive, yeah. And it's in the stores. It's in all indie stores, but it is specifically in Warwick's.
Okay.
So
There you go. All right. Okay, Steve. Lightning
Okay.
round.
All right, for my lightning round pick, this is a book that came out last month. It's The Last Diving Horse in America by Cynthia Brannigan. This is a true story. This is a crazy story in some ways, that actually that this thing ever happened, because this was Atlantic City's on the pier it was like this, one of the signature event that happened. Carver's high diving horses.
Am I going to be
Nuts.
sad?
What? I'm
I
sorry.
said, am I going to be sad?
Maybe no. It's uplifting. It
Okay.
is ultimately uplifting.
I saw that movie.
Uh, yeah. Oh, no,
Ultimately uplifting, but
it's an animal rescue story, so
Okay.
you're going to be happy.
Okay.
But just to set it up, in beginning in 1929, 4 times a day, 7 days a week, a trained horse wearing only a harness ran up a ramp. A diving girl in a bathing suit and helmet jumped onto its bare back, and together they sailed 40 feet through the air, plunging to thunderous applause into a 10-foot deep tank of water. If this ever happened is just horrifying. All right, so decades later, this girl who saw this act, I guess she saw it in 1980 or something, just before they kind of shut it down. She decides she wants to rescue this horse. It's like the last horse that was doing these stunts. And she goes to, I think she has to go to Cleveland. I think it goes to New York to rescue the animal, whose name is Gamble. And this began, and she knows nothing about horses at all. So it begins kind of the friendship and training and rehabilitation of this horse. So it's really ultimately uplifting. And it's kind of that tale of the power of animals and the love that can heal your heart and restore the soul. So it came out last month, The Last Diving Horse in America.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
What we used
What
to
a
do
story.
what we used to do in this country. It is amazing. Not
And
even in this country.
And some of the things we still do.
Well, some of the things we still do, but some of the stuff that's still going on in other countries that haven't quite evolved with animals and what they do. I mean,
well, I thought you were going to say this was from the 1920s or 30s, but
well, it started.
no.
Yeah, but it went.
I'm sure. Okay, it started way back when.
But yeah, it's frightening to think of, but I guess we do evolve as a species, and like
we do. I hope.
All right. Okay, Gabe, lightning round.
Lightning round. I'm gonna go big.
Go big. Go big or go home.
I
Go
gotta
our
fiddle
home.
around because I was looking at the video of that movie. Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken.
You digressed in a big way. You went down a rabbit hole.
I saw it on a flight. I haven't seen many movies on a flight, but I saw that one. So my final offering today is a Laurie Colwin book, More Home Cooking. And Laurie Colwin passed away, a long time ago. She was 42 when she passed away. She had just come over to Harper, and we published Goodbye Without Leaving, which was a really, really wonderful book. And then we published A Big Storm Knocked It Over, that she was finishing during her final days. I really loved Goodbye Without Leaving. So this is a pitch for all of Laurie Colwin's backlist. Random House and Harper think so much of Laurie Colwin that we've combined forces to repackaging her books in a very similar look. So they all have a very uniform appearance when they're on your shelves. She's a really wonderful writer and good, solid literary writer. And then she had a passion for cooking, and she wrote Home Cooking, which we had at Harper for a minute, and then Random House took it back as rights revert and things tend to go. It's a different business. It's okay. But we kept More Home Cooking for some reason, and we published it and we repackage it proudly every time we do. And she was also a wonderful food writer. So we've got I put a Ruth Reichel quote on here, and something from the Chicago Tribune. There's a great foreword by Deb Pearlman. And for those who don't know Deb, she has a site called Smitten Kitchen that has been around since like 2005 or something like that. And she also contributes like to Bon Appetit and the New York Times and New York Magazine. So she is a foodie and a food writer and a cook in her own right. She's published 2 cookbooks. So big fan. These books all have an introduction by somebody interesting. So we add a little extra value to the book. And I just, we have so many new books coming out all the time. But here's a book that has been around for probably 30 years, 20 a lot of years. And I think is still relevant. And we have a wonderful writer who's got a nice body of work that you can enjoy. So look up Lori Colwin. She's really a treat.
Seems like a good gift book and a good like fall holiday kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think if you've got a foodie, if you're somebody who likes Ruth Reichel or any of these food writers, the story writing,
they probably haven't read.
She was one of the first, and I represent Vintage, which covers the books of Lori's that he doesn't cover, including home cooking. But she was really the first, I believe, writer who combined cooking with memoir. And and that's how many, it's like a category in its own these days.
Right.
But she's this brilliant writer that if you haven't discovered her, you're in for a real treat.
So if you've already read all Anthony Bourdain, Ruth Reichel, then it's like go back to Lori, right? There you go.
And I've only read, I feel like I've read 1 or 2 of the novels, and she was a great novelist too. I love her books.
Yeah.
And I love that she's going to be constantly discovered, rediscovered forever. Like, I think she's one of those writers who will be continually discovered because she's so good.
Remain in the
and beloved by other writers.
Really great body of work that she left behind.
Yeah.
She, 42 when she passed, very, very
young, but with such a great body of work, like you said, though. Yeah. All right, Tom, what's your lightning round?
Julie, I think you will like my lightning round pick. It is on sale tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Little Pieces of Hope.
Yep.
And now I don't know Todd, but I feel like I know Todd through you, through the Random House, Knopf Reps, and everyone who knows Todd loves Todd is what I gather. And it makes sense that this book would be such a feel good, wonderful, like perfect gift book.
Perfect.
And I feel like, so it's what he did during the pandemic, right? On Instagram. There's like 50% new things. It's not just what he posted on Instagram, but they were little pieces of hope, that these lists that, and you can open the book at any page and I start, at least for me, I start nodding. Like I see that, that thing that that rings a bell. It makes me feel good just to think about that thing that he's talking about. There are great like mixtape lists of songs that make you feel a certain way, but it's all feel good. And it was important during the pandemic. It's still important. It will be important once we're through the pandemic. So I'm really excited. I hope this book really, blows out of the stores because he deserves it. And we all need a book like this. We did a book years ago. We did a book called, I think it was called The Book of Awesome or The Little Book of Awesome. Mm-hmm. That was like a surprise bestseller for that reader, or even Anne Lamott. I feel like Anne Lamott's readers would love this book. Yeah. So Little Pieces of Hope, paperback original, $16 on sale tomorrow.
Yeah. Happy making things in a difficult world. It was his his Instagram post. I went down some of the best Google rabbit holes from those lists because he would mention a painting and you'd be like, oh my God, I got to go see what that looks like. I mean, no.
Right. And it's so wide ranging: music, art,
everything,
literature, just every personal experience you can have. Yeah.
And
really
as you're reading it, you really think it's like, but they're so thoughtful. I mean, I don't know. I love him. I love the book. I just can't wait. And we're hosting him on Wednesday. So Amanda put the link into the chat there. We're doing it in partnership with Book Passage. So It'll be, I think, on YouTube.
And this
but there'll
could
a link.
be, this is definitely like a stocking stuffer that could be just for just about anyone.
Anybody. And that's what somebody, I can't remember who gave him an endorsement, but it was like a really good author that just said, just buy 10 of them right now. And just like
Oh, right.
every party you go to, every stocking you need to stuff, just stick that in there because it's just that great book.
Well, he has the most amazing quotes. There's quotes from Chris Bojalian. There's Margaret Atwood, John Grisham, Chuck Palahniuk. I mean, it covers every kind of author too.
Yeah.
So
he's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. So thank you for that one. I love that one. All right, Andrea, close us out.
I'm going to share my screen
Okay.
and I'm going to talk about Cat and Dog, A Tale of Opposites. I've been doing a lot of dog books, you've noticed, but I'm, adding a cat this time.
Giving the cats their due.
Yep. This is from Red Comet Press. And they're a new up and coming publisher. This is their first list, and I cannot believe how good it is. Every book, they have 6 books, I think, on this list, and they're all incredible. They have just really done all of their research. They know how to market their books. They know how to get publicity. And the images are great. The art is always great. And this is a opposite book with a narrative and simple yet hilarious drawings. And I just think this is going to be a hit with kids, but also the adult readers to the children. And I mean, look at this art, you guys. It's so great. And
So cute.
Love it.
yeah.
So cute.
And,
the design is so good.
yeah. The design sensibility is great. And that's just what this press is doing. Red Comet Press. I can see these guys just, shooting into the stratosphere really with how great they are. And there's 32 words in this book, and that's it. And you get this beautiful ending here, and it's just so sweet.
Cute.
And this is another one. Get it while it's hot, because it's going to be hard to reprint such great, really well done print jobs for these children's books and art books and cookbooks, as Tom was talking about earlier. So
I love it.
yeah, I don't know how to get out of here. How do I stop the share? Yeah.
Uh-oh, there you go.
you
Stop
did
the
it.
share.
Woo, you did it.
I
Okay,
want
I'm gonna talk
t-shirts that
about
stop the
some
share on it.
stop sharing. I love all your kids' books. Okay, I'm gonna talk about 5 authors' names that are together that are going to be awesome. So I'm going to share my screen too, because we're hosting. Like I said earlier, we've had some really good events coming up. But here's Gregory Mcguire. You'll know him from just a little book called Wicked. We'll be with none other than Christopher Moore tomorrow. So that actually is a free event. So you can go and just follow this link right here, and you can register for that and see Christopher Moore and Gregory Mcguire.
Big week tomorrow.
I know, can't wait for that. Then none other than tomorrow is Alice Hoffman, who I adore, who actually is on our building. We did this building. We did some authors. Alice is one of the authors that's actually on our building. Alice is going to be with none other than Kristen Hanna. So another great pairing that's going to happen. So that's tomorrow too. So we've got a blockbuster day tomorrow. We got Todd on Wednesday. And then there's a little book that we're going to announce with an event by this man right here. So
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah. So we got the okay to
That's
let you
big.
know that we're hosting him too. He's back with his thriller. So
That's right.
that's coming in November. So look for that event to come too, because I love Ken Follett, but he's back writing a thriller. So that's going to be a fun one to watch too. So
Talk about a Christmas gift. That's the one.
right. And just like blow through those. I mean, I love.
There's always a Ken Follett fan in the family.
I
or in
know.
your circle.
Yeah.
There is.
Right. And I love it when he goes like, because what was his other one? Dangerous Fortune, I think. That was the other one that I liked that he wrote a long time ago. So some really good events, some great books that we got to hear about today. So with that, another great week of reading. And we will see everybody next Monday, same bat time. Oh, there you go. More home cooking. Same bat channel. Bye, everybody.
Go
Bye,
Dodgers.
Go Dodgers.
Go Dodgers.
Wait a minute. Last week you were also about St. Louis. What
You
happened?
got no choice. You
Yeah,
got no
yeah,
choice.
got no choice. We need to talk about
I
that.
got
That
no
whole
choice.
that whole new playing thing. I don't know. We gotta like.
I don't know either.
That's not a good thing. Anyways,
Depends on which
I
side you're
digress.
on.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.